Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. And guys, I've got a very informative video for you guys here today. In this one, not only is it informative, it's just a great video for Battleship players to watch, to learn from, and it's a fun highlight all in one video here. Now, this video is sort of directly related to the video I made the other day titled Basic Strategy. I will link that one or pin it in the top comment. And of course, there were questions, as I knew that there would be, about what to do in a battleship and what happens if I spawn mid and what happens if X, Y, and Z. And I think this video is a great example of when things don't necessarily go your way, when your friendlies have rather questionable strategies, as you guys can see in this game. Our Des Moines is leaving the alpha flank and deciding to go to the other side. Now, initially, I did want to support our destroyer here at B and C, and that is what we're doing. We're kind of pushing in, and then we're going to turn out in that J-hook position here. I would also like to note that there was a triple division on the enemy team, as well as Mr. King Manchez, who is an excellent player. No divisions on our team and no other notable players that I, recognize the names. Now, that's not to say that they weren't great players. A few of these guys actually did understand positioning, maybe a little bit later in the game, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on as this enemy destroyer is spotted here. And what did we say in our basic strategy video? Anytime an enemy destroyer is spotted, you need to shoot at it. Now, I am actually waiting for him to commit to his turn. He is smoking up here. A decent job by our friendly destroyer of getting into position. And there, it seems, is the turn. He's turning away from the torpedoes. We're going to go ahead and lead a salvo there, popping Arthas in the meantime. And there is 10,000 damage done to that Hayate, immediately giving our team that advantage. So a huge shout out to the Velos for doing his job. And this is what we're talking about in that video. If you don't fulfill your role in a destroyer, I can't fulfill my role in a battleship. But if you guys have noticed, I've actually taken a good bit of damage already here. However, I was angled, so I wasn't taking Citadel damage, even though the Colombo has a decent armor scheme. And yes, while they did chunk my superstructure, we've managed to heal, and we're back in the high yellow and white territory. Now, looking at the minimap here, what do you guys see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships. 8 ships if you count the destroyers there and the other battleship on one side. What are we going to do? We're going to turn around and at least go defend the other side. Our destroyers have done a fantastic job. The gearing getting into the Bravo cap here. Now, he does make a little bit of a mistake. He pushes directly into that alpha flank, and this is when it goes to thinking 2 steps ahead. That Bravo cap there is very isolated. You look, as we're talking about the hide screen there, making fun of Bravo, but that destroyer ran right into a vampire, so he wasn't necessarily paying attention. That cap is very isolated, so he should have, once he got the cap, he should have retreated out of it. However, we're going to try and support him in any way we can. But that's what we're talking about when, we talk about thinking 2 steps ahead. If you look at the enemy lineup, a vampire has a sonar and that crawling smoke screen. So we're not, if I was that gearing, I would not have rushed into him. But again, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He did his job. And again, this is my second or third salvo of the game here. I'm taking it at a destroyer. Yes, I don't have a max, amount of damage, but those 2 overpins are far more valuable, as you guys will see at the end. Number 1, we do get a high damage total, and number 2, we get the top XP score on the team. And there is the Des Moines, who was on this flank over here. What is he doing? Right? We're not naming and shaming, but we are just pointing out objectively bad plays. Sailing from one side of the map to the other in a radar cruiser that needs to be close to caps and islands to sit behind the ships that are already over there, again, is just an objectively bad play, and of course the scoreboard will typically reveal those results. And here is honestly the best teaching moment in this game. Instead of pushing in like just someone who has, relinquished the game as we lose another ship, it is now 6 on 8. I am going to kite away. The Delaware that was on this flank is making a smart play. He is kiting away, and this Mino and this Heisen are chasing him. And what happens when that happens? Well, you can see that this Mino is obsessed. He's like, oh, look, it's a free battleship. He's running away. I must get him. And of course, we miss out on the depth strike again on that Mino as he actually healed up a good bit of his health. But because this ship kited out and kited away, he is drawing these other players towards him. You can see that there is a Heisen there, there's a Mino, there's a Navarine, we're being shot by the Vampire. So because of these smart plays by myself and this Delaware, we have distracted the enemy, and we actually have the advantage now that we got those equal eliminations. Instead of, just rushing in and dying and putting our team at more of a disadvantage, we have now a 2-cap advantage, a point advantage, and we are now tied on ships. So a huge shout out to this Delaware for understanding what needed to be done, and we're also, sort of supporting him in that process. So if you are at the Bravo cap and you spawn in a battleship and you end up going to the Alpha or the Bravo Charlie side like we did, and then you realize, oh, my whole team is going over here, then reposition like we did. Now, of course, sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And yes, if you can push through Charlie and get the rest and remaining of those kills or, eliminations, then it may be, beneficial. And that comes with a game experience. This game could have played out differently in a number of different ways. But just think of it like you're playing like soccer or dodgeball with third graders, right? If you can distract, it's like you and a bunch of other third graders versus 9 other third graders. If you can distract 5 of those third graders while your third graders team up on the other third graders, that is basically what it's like playing Legends with adults because people just don't understand the game. Now this, position right here may be boring. However, we are drawing the enemy away from the objectives. Now, they did manage to work their way back into B, and our ships over at C are finally realizing, like, oh, we've got to pay attention to a few of the ships in the middle of the map here. But because of our distraction out here, we have the cap advantage, and we now actually have the ship advantage. I would also like to point out that we did switch to the HE here. Yes, the Colombo has fantastic AP, and when you're in a battleship, as we see that Mino radaring, I have no idea what that guy's doing, to be honest. But again, you have to fill in the gaps where your team has gaps in their IQ. So that is all we'll say about that. But we talked about it briefly in that basic strategy video. When the enemy is angling to you like this Heisen is to us, switch to the HE. It's going to start fires. It's going to damage AA. It's going to damage modules, mainly on cruisers and destroyers. But that is, instead of being stubborn and sitting there just, getting 2 or 3 overpens for a couple thousand damage, load up the HE. Now, of course, it did look like he was making a turn. This Delaware did turn back around, which is honestly a smart play, and I probably could have supported him here, but I believe the enemy BA, whatever ship that was, knew who I was. As you can see, he's shooting over him to shoot me, so being a CC, you do get a little extra attention, which is why it is essential that you must angle and pay attention to situational awareness. I do want to point out that the water does look pretty fantastic here. It's just nice, smooth glass. Yeah, I can only wait for submarines. I think that's what we're preparing for. But the enemy Vampire is spotted, and he is missing a good chunk of his health, partly and due to us. So that advantage, that destroyers have, the health advantage, you can easily change that by shooting at destroyers. He makes a good turn here to avoid our salvo, but he's turning into our friendlies. I think he's either on radar hydro or he's spotted because he's overrunning a smoke screen there, but it doesn't matter. He is being focused by our enemy, and we're going to go ahead and pop our smoke and make that turn here. So a shout out to our team for, maybe not positioning correctly on the outset of this game, but they finally got it together, and because of the plays by myself and this Delaware here, we were able to finish this game. And again, the damage is still coming, right? We have a broadside Heisen here. I probably should have popped Arthas, but he goes down. We have 140,000 damage, so we have almost doubled our HP total, which again, if you're in a battleship or a cruiser, look to double or not double, 1.5x your HP total. For example, we have 80,000 health here in the Colombo. So we're looking to get, 100 to 120,000 health as a decent game. But this gentleman here is really faced now with a tough decision to angle to us or the Delaware here. We get a little bit trolled, but again, we have his broadside, we have the plane, and we have complete control of the situation. So just a perfect example of situational awareness, reading the map, knowing what to do, and then executing it, right? This Delaware, again, he had a fantastic game. He does go down there at the end of this one, but we've got this Tom, I don't even know how to say this one. We've got a nice little broadside here, and we get trolled. Now, I think this thing has a slight turtleback armor scheme. A few of those overpens are actually the shells bouncing off that armor and then going up, up into the deck or superstructure. So a pretty unique situation there. But that is actually a strong ship. Some of those French cruisers have, well, I don't even know what nation this is, but it is a reskin of the French cruiser, and that's part of the problem about 18,000 reskins in this game. But this guy sent me a message afterwards. He was just turning into it. He knew that this game was over here, so we get absolutely trolled by RNG there. So a shout out to him for not extending this game any longer. And those shells are actually doing a decent bit of damage. But if you guys notice, yes, it wasn't the most exciting game. We only got 3 assisted kills, but 170,000 damage. We do manage to also get a Dreadnought as well, meaning we've healed back a good amount of our health. A little bit of that was fire damage. Some of it was penetration damage. But by taking on the strong side of the enemy, getting a high caliber, and attracting a bunch of damage, we also managed to get around 3,000 base XP there, 2924. And then you kind of look at the other ships who abandoned their flank and not as high of scores. And again, I'm not doing this to name and shame. I'm simply doing it to point out, if you fulfill your role as it's meant to be played, you read the minimap and you spread out trying to get objective points, you will end up doing better. It's really frustrating when someone's like, well, I'm just going to go over here because it's what I want to do. It's like, well, that's fine, but you would do better if you just followed the rules that the game is essentially laid out for us in order to succeed. So just a great example of what we were talking about in that video yesterday. Shoot at destroyers, support the weak side. Don't be a bad teammate, essentially. Now, of course, shit is going to happen. If our teammates didn't push through on C there, we would have lost that game, right? I would have been pretty frustrated at the back of the map. I would have been surrounded. So, again, you will always have to support your team, which is why I really hate when it's like, oh, well, divisions make it so unfair. Yes, a division of excellent players is typically going to steamroll a bunch of blueberries. However, there was a division on that team with another great player, but because our team, again, at least on the strong side in that Delaware, fulfilled some of the roles they needed to, we ended up winning. So you never know. It's always better to at least give it the old college try before quitting. So that's the basic strategy there for kiting in battleships, is what it's called. Playing defensive, reading the mini-map, shooting at destroyers, and again, just sort of being the ultimate team player. Most of this is come with experience and reading the mini-map, but the more you do it, the more videos you watch a host of different content creators. Zarkoon, Spartan even, PG is an excellent player as well. There's a Senna is up and coming. So there's a lot of other people out there. If you don't like the way that I say it, I kind of say it, bluntly and truthfully, and some people don't like that. So, but results typically speak for themselves. But that's the video there. Hope you guys have a great Saturday, Sunday, whenever this video is out. I don't know. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, run out. Peace.